Hay peleas que se detienen por nocaut, otras por descalificación, unas pocas por decisión. Pero existe una categoría tan infrecuente que muchos aficionados pasan toda su vida sin presenciarla. Una pelea detenida porque un hombre ya no tiene más sangre que derramar. Lo que estás a punto de ver no es una crónica deportiva. Es el registro de una noche en Los Ángeles en la que un ring se convirtió en el altar donde un guerrero azteca cobró una deuda que no era suya, pero que México entero había puesto sobre sus hombros. Advertencia: las imágenes que acompañan esta narración no son aptas para quienes creen que el boxeo es solo un deporte. Esto es otra cosa. Si no te incomoda mirar de frente al rojo de la bandera tricolor cuando se mezcla con el sudor y la sangre de un campeón, quédate, porque lo que ocurrió en el asalto 11 de esta noche aún se recuerda como uno de los finales más brutales de la era moderna del boxeo. El hombre que venía a cobrar, Robert Andrew Peden, no era un rival cualquiera. El australiano conocido como el Bombardeo de Sydney llegaba esa noche al Staples Center de Los Ángeles con un historial que hablaba por sí solo. 34 victorias, 26 de ellas por nocaut, y apenas 2 derrotas en toda su carrera. Pero lo que hacía especialmente incómodo su nombre en los corrillos del boxeo mexicano no era su récord, era lo que ese récord representaba. 3 de sus victorias más recientes habían llegado a expensas de peleadores mexicanos que habían cruzado el océano o el desierto con la ilusión de arrebatarle el cinturón de la Federación Internacional de Boxeo en la división superpluma. 3 veces, 3 derrotas. 3 banderas tricolores que volvieron a casa sin el oro. Peden se había construido una reputación como el verdugo de los mexicanos, y lo sabía. Lo portaba con la naturalidad de quien lleva demasiado tiempo sin ser cuestionado. El guerrero que cargaba con todos ellos, Juan Manuel Márquez, no nació siendo leyenda. Nació en Ciudad de México en 1974, en una familia donde el boxeo no era un sueño, sino un oficio. Hijo del excombatiente Rafito Márquez, creció sabiendo que los golpes también se piensan antes de lanzarse. A sus 31 años, llegaba a esta pelea con 44 combates disputados, 40 victorias, 29 de ellas por la vía del nocaut. Pero el número que más importaba esa noche no era ninguno de esos, era el número 3. 3 compatriotas suyos habían caído ante Peden. Y aunque Márquez nunca lo declaró abiertamente, quienes lo conocían de cerca sabían que llevaba ese peso dentro del ring, tanto como llevaba su guardia alta y su quijada de piedra. Lo que nadie en el campamento de Peden había calculado era que Márquez no venía solo a ganar un cinturón, venía a terminar con algo. Y nada de lo que el australiano había enfrentado en sus 14 años de carrera lo había preparado para el tipo de guerra que Juan Manuel Márquez estaba dispuesto a librar. Desde la primera campana, Márquez hizo algo que sus 3 compatriotas no habían hecho: no atacar. Mientras el público del Staples Center esperaba el choque frontal, Juan Manuel se limitó a moverse, a medir, a leer. Cada jab de Peden era una pregunta. Cada esquiva de Márquez era una respuesta que el australiano aún no entendía que estaba dando.
Many at ringside felt as though the decision should have gone the other way, but Marquez's career has been more or less mired in neutral since that time. This is another chance for him to step forward into the spotlight, and Emmanuel Stewart, he starts out working well with the left hand.
He's coming out looking very good, and the fact that every time you get a report about anything happening, it seems like from Big Bear, Robert Peden is involved, so he just about lives there, I guess, all of the time. Where most fighters train up there, he lives there. That's his permanent home, so he should be in good shape.
Well, as a matter of fact, Fernando Vargas lets him use his home when he's not in training, perhaps when he's training as well, and he's been very generous, I've heard, to Pete.
And Pete has been very generous with his comments, too, related to Fernando Vargas.
They have a great friendship. Vargas is a guy who elicits great loyalty from his friends, as many of them have proven in the past.
The matchup here you have, in Peden, you have what you call crafty fighter, very smart, very crafty, tricky. And in Marquez, you have a very basic, fundamental, solid fighter that has extremely good punching power. He has good follow-through on all of his deliveries. Nothing fancy, but very basic.
Classic form, Juan Manuel Márquez. When Norwood roughed him up, grabbed him, held him, fought him inside, Marquez had difficulty getting on track against the awkward and roughhouse style of Norwood. can stand outside and fight Marquez, you give him a chance to do what he does best.
He's a tremendous puncher. Very difficult for anyone to fight Norwood. He's left-handed. He gets down in very bad positions, which make it very difficult to land a clean punch.
Good uppercut by Marquez. Momentarily stops the assault by Peden.
Both fighters showing respect for each other at this early stage of the fight.
Both guys are showing good punching power, too, for small guys.
126-pound weight class, loaded with talent. Barrera and Morales, as we mentioned. There's a big right hand by Juan Manuel Márquez.
Drop that back right clean. Watch you push him down on the head. Watch your low blows box.
Prince Naseem Hamed preparing to come back to action next month here on HBO. He becomes an economic force again as soon as he's active in the division.
He doesn't get too many of those right hands from Marquez.
Round one CompuBox numbers. Marquez 17 out of 43, including 9 of 22 jabs. Peden 5 of 36, 2 of 22 jabs. Those numbers would seem to indicate that if Peden wants to continue to fight from outside, he may have a problem. Marquez has better range. I personally was surprised, given the profiles of the two fighters, when Robbie Peden said that he thought he could fight Marquez from the outside. It seems to me that if Robbie Peden wants to beat Juan Manuel Márquez, he's got to get inside and work the rib cage somewhat the way Norwood did.
He's going to have to do that because sitting outside, even though Marquez is not that fancy, he's so basically sound and fundamental that it's very difficult for you to catch him with clean punches. And I like to point out that the trainer, Nacho Berenstein, has did a great job, I think, in training both of the Marquez brothers there. Unlike in the past, many of the Mexican fighters are just very aggressive, but recently we're seeing a whole new generation of Mexican fighters who are very technically, in fact, they do a lot of counter-punching. When you look at Barrera, you look at the two Marquez, they're fighting very intelligent now, much different, and actually outboxing most of the American fighters now.
So the stereotype of the Mexican fighter is gradually going away, and of course Berenstein trained the great Daniel Zaragoza for a long time. Zaragoza was himself completely the opposite of the classic Mexican fighter. He was a guy who boxed you and won with finesse.
I think a lot of this is due to the fact that the Mexican fighters are living in so much intermingling with the American fighters nowadays, and training here in America, and they've picked up on a lot of our techniques, but still have to maintain that great punching power. That's, you know, and it's in fact interesting, you're not seeing him throw too many of the Mexican left hooks to the body as compared to
no, that's interesting. No, it's not a basic staple of Juan Manuel Márquez's attack. It isn't even really a part of what Eric Morales does. The left hook to the body is still something you see from Marco Antonio Barrera, although even he has now shown he can win without that weapon.
Yes, he's become a balanced out fighter, and they're picking punches out very beautiful with their gloves up high.
They continue to trade from outside. Peden had a moment with a counterpunch earlier in the round, but by and large, from this distance, Marquez seems likely to land more.
I see Peden has changed his strategy now. He's decided that fighting from the outside is not working. He's trying to move in and be more aggressive now.
So let's see if Peden can find a way to get a half a foot closer and try to get into a position where he can begin to make his punches mean something.
This is interesting. I considered Peden to be the crafty fighter, but at this stage right here, in every department, Marquez is taking advantage of the speed that he has and the punching power.
Mark your calendars for these upcoming fights. March 23, Prince Naseem Hamed.
Those right hands over the...
Second time.
seconds of round 3. Robbie Peden continues to show that he wants to get a little closer to Juan Manuel Márquez. And Marquez treating Peden with caution and respect, but still landing from the outside with the jab and the occasional right hand. There's a right hand over the top by Marquez.
Peden has been able to absorb the right hands by Marquez, but I don't know what's going to happen going down the stretch, because Marquez has tremendous follow-through on his right hand, and he's landed them at will with the low left hand of Peden, and sooner or later something is going to have to happen, even if it's no more than just a cut or injury.
Now, this is exactly what you spoke to Robbie Peden about during the meeting yesterday, Emmanuel, when you said to him, you know, you hold your hands low and you're going against a big puncher. And he said, yeah, I know. I'm going to have to hold my hands higher.
Yeah, and then he said, if I do hold it low, I'll make sure I'm on the other side of the ring. That was okay during the fighters meeting, but now in the heat of the battle, he's coming in and still is getting hit with those right hands.
Well, it's one of the oldest stories in boxing. If you have a habit, and it's a long-standing habit, you may say you'll change for a given fight, but odds are once you're in the ring, you'll do what you've always done.
And as the fight is progressing now, I've seen Peden has become a little bit more lax, a little wider with his punches, and Marquez has maintained his same level of balance and position.
Marquez remembering to go to the body. Peden had it right. He said Marquez is an excellent fighter. I expect him to be able to lead or follow. And indeed, Marquez can counter when Peden tries to get off, or he can set up his own attack, as he shows you there.
Peden has had probably, from what I gather, maybe over 100, maybe close to 200 amateur fights. And as a result, those habits that he's developed, it's going to be very hard to get out of. And normally it would not be that much of a problem, but with a puncher like Marquez, who's also a sharp fighter, it's a big mistake.
Robbie Peden so far has shown that he has the chin to take good stuff from Juan Manuel Márquez. The bad news is that Marquez is landing good stuff.
Give me the ice, please. Are you hurt? Are you sure? Am I doing okay? You're throwing really nice. It's very easy that dominate with the jab.
Stay down low. We come out.
Especially after he's trying to come in behind your jab. Seconds out. Let's go. Let's go.
Good job, baby.
Seconds out. Stop. Hold it tight. Hold it tight. Hold it tight. Stay there. Wipe this off his head. Wipe this off his head. That's no good. Put your head down. Good job. Time in. Box.
Round 4 begins in Pittsburgh. Crowd here watching this fight as they get ready to cheer for Paul Spadafora in the main event coming next. Harold Letterman, how do you have Marquez and Peden through the first 3?
Okay, Jim. 3-0, 30-27, Juan Manuel Márquez. Jim, Robbie Peden seems to be just giving Juan Manuel Márquez the opportunities to score, and he's taking every advantage. Beautiful left jabs, hard straight right hands. Robbie Peden keeps those hands too low, as you've been saying, feints a lot, doesn't punch enough. Márquez just taking advantage of the opportunities presented to him.
Emmanuel, what can Peden do to change the fight?
I think Peden has to be busier, and he has to jab more, but he should jab with his jabbing up high. That way he can defect a lot of the right hands that may be coming over. He needs to be jabbing at Marquez's left eye. The thing is, he doesn't utilize his jab too much. The other things he can't change. He fights with his hands too far apart to be fighting a fighter as sharp as Marquez is, but that's not going to change.
You see how low Robbie Peden holds his hands as he sets up.
Working the corner of Peden, I noticed that Jim Strickland, one of the best cut men in the business and also the busiest. He's been working cuts, I think, for the last 8 weeks. I've saw him in every fight I've been to. He's working the corner, so he's very much in demand. And also Jeff Lacey, one of our top fighters coming up in the super middleweight division, is also working as a cornerman for Robert Peden.
Jeff Lacey is another pupil of Roger Bloodworth, who works with Fernando Vargas, works with Lacey, works with Robbie Peden.
Keep the blows up. That's the second time. That's a warning. Keep the blows up. You understand? Do you understand? That was a warning on him. Stand back. Pop.
Probably Bloodworth's prize pupil has been Vargas.
Roger also, I think he worked with Pernell Whitaker.
Yep.
Some of the other fighters, too, that was in the main event stage.
Hard right hand by Marquez. Most solid blow of the fight so far.
Just when I was going to say that Peden is having one of his better rounds, the right hand lands again.
Watch you pushing down.
Peden made an interesting remark to us, which is that he didn't think that Marquez is a confident fighter. And that if you get on top of him, he'll
watch your heads inside.
He'll back off. He won't be as aggressive. But so far, he just hasn't done enough to bring out that lack of confidence, if it exists. If anything, he's made him a more confident fighter. But now, Marquez has a bloody nose.
You got to use that uppercut. Breathe in through your mouth. Keep using that. Keep using that uppercut. He's almost gone. You're winning this fight by a very little margin, but you're winning this fight.
Emmanuel, let's take a look at a package of right hands by Marquez.
Yes, the right hand has been the signal to punch throughout this entire fight, more so than any other one particular punch, mainly because of the low left hand of Robbie Peden.
So Marquez landing there, a lead right hand, landing the right hand behind the jab, landing the right hand countering Peden's left. Every variety, right?
Every variety. And even when Peden is jabbing, he jabs with his elbows bending slightly out to the degree that you can land the right hand at the same time that he's delivering his jab.
That's part of the importance of keeping the elbow straight when you jab, huh?
That's very true.
With the maximum distance between yourself and the opponent while you land the punch. Jabs through round 4, incidentally. Marquez 35 out of 95 by CompuBox estimate. Peden only 12 out of 83. Peden averaging only 38 punches per round, so Marquez has been able to limit Peden's activity somewhat by landing all those right hands that you saw in the replay package. And there's another right hand over the top by Juan Manuel Marquez.
You know, coming into the fight, primarily everyone was expecting Marquez and respecting him primarily for his big punching power. But he's shown a great display of boxing talents today, which has impressed me also.
I don't recall him being willing to back up, move forward, change up. He's become a more complete fighter over the last couple of years.
Well, he has a good sparring partner, probably, than his younger brother.
We asked him if he felt any friendly competition with his brother, that now that his brother has suddenly emerged as a serious fighter in his division, does he feel any pressure to perform? But he wouldn't bite. No. He doesn't feel that as the big brother he has to be the big brother.
That was a good example of good balance right there. He threw a looping right hand, missed it, and was still in position where he could come back with a left hook at the same time.
You can see Marquez beckoning Peden to come forward.
I was listening in the corner to Nacho Berenstein advising Marquez to shoot more uppercuts. But when you shoot uppercut as a lead punch running in like that, you're leaving yourself wide open to get caught with a counter punch at the same time, and it's very dangerous. I was surprised for him to tell him to shoot that.
Just ask Buster Douglas, who tried an uppercut against Evander Holyfield and found himself flat on his back, giving away the heavyweight championship.
That's right. Straight right hand will always beat an uppercut when you shoot as a lead punch.
There's a left hook for Marquez. Momentarily snapping Peden's head back, and now combination punches from Marquez, and Peden flurries with a counter barrage of his own.
Peden ganaba los rounds en el marcador, pero estaba siendo estudiado como un texto que alguien planeaba subrayar en rojo. En el quinto, Márquez empezó a traducir sus notas en daño. Los golpes al hígado comenzaron a llegar con una frecuencia calculada, como el agua que perfora la roca, no por fuerza, sino por constancia. Peden respondía con su potencia natural, y hubo momentos en que el mexicano absorbió combinaciones que habrían mandado a dormir a un hombre menos construido. Pero Márquez no caía, y eso, para Peden, empezó a resultar inquietante.
34 punches in round 5. If he's not going to throw 50 or 60 punches around, he just isn't going to create enough offense to deflect Juan Manuel Márquez and knock him off course.
Barring a knockout, it's going to be very difficult for Peden to win this fight because the momentum and the rhythm is favoring Marquez. The only thing at this stage that Peden can do, since he's being beaten anyway, is to be busier. He should pick up his volume of punches because he seemingly has a lot of energy still, and it doesn't seem to be tiring. But his volume of punches is too low.
And his face is beginning to swell. He doesn't yet have visual problems, but there's a beginning of swelling around his eyes and the rest of his face from getting tattooed with all those punches Marquez lands. There's a slip as Marquez goes down, but maybe a little bit of a confidence builder for Peden.
Yeah, I think it was. Even though it was a slip, I think it's still just to see an opponent go down gives a little energy to him. He's just standing over him.
Watch your heads.
Uppercut almost landed big from Marquez. Peden's got a good beard.
Yeah, Peden doesn't have really a defense for a right hand. Some guys roll the shoulders when they shoot a right hand. Some guys slip over to the left. He just pretty much just takes them. And even if you can take those punches and you don't get knocked out, sooner or later when the human flesh is being hit on continually, something is going to have to give. Which means you're going to end up with an injury or a bad swelling eventually.
Peden came back off that big right hand with a left hook that was one of his more effective punches of the fight. No sign yet, as Larry pointed out, that Peden has robbed Marquez of any confidence. Marquez seems to feel that he can do what he wants to do.
Well, that time at least Peden had his hand up.
Yes, that's one of the few times that he blocked it right in. It's easier to count the ones that he blocks than it is the one he gets hit with.
Competition, both fights are significant, but here at Pittsburgh, crowd noise will tell you the main event takes place when Paul Spadafora enters the ring. Spadafora, by now the most famous of Pittsburgh fighters since light heavyweight legend Billy Conn 50 years ago. Tonight, Spadafora stepping up in class to defend against Angel Manfredi, who's been in with a lot of the best.
Just that left hand down, you got caught with one right hand in that round. Get that left hand up.
Not that big a punch.
You got to keep throwing those left hooks. Keep throwing those left uppercuts. Speed. Doesn't matter if you don't hit hard, but just keep that speed. It's going to do it. Jabs, and keep the head down. How do you feel? Do you feel okay? Yeah.
Fight is scheduled for 12 rounds because it is a title eliminator.
En el séptimo asalto, una derecha cruzada de Márquez abrió una pequeña cortada sobre el ojo izquierdo del australiano. Pequeña, pero real. La primera señal de lo que vendría.
59-55, Juan Manuel Márquez, based on, that clean effect of punching. He's just out punching him, hitting him with the right hand. But Jim, I got to tell you, in round 4, the round that I did give to Peden, he bloodied Marquez's nose, and I really believe from the bottom of my heart that Marquez is swallowing blood, because a lot of times if you watch him, his mouth will be wide open. He's breathing through his mouth, because when he breathes through his nose, he swallows blood from his nose. So this may hurt him later in the fight. It may slow him up. I don't know. So far, Marquez with a big lead.
What about a fighter swallowing blood, Emmanuel?
Oh, it definitely can make you weaken as the fight goes on, and sometimes become very nauseating.
Meldrick Taylor against Julio Cesar Chavez, March 17, 1990.
Yeah, he was bleeding.
Meldrick swallowed so much of his own blood, he was sick.
Oh, my God, his body was bleeding, his kidneys, everything.
Big right hand over the top by Peden, I should say. Juan Manuel Márquez trying to break Robbie Peden down from the outside and continue what has become a string of 6 consecutive knockouts coming in.
Yeah, that's funny. Tonight he's fighting a fight with a lot of technical skills instead of punching power. I don't believe that he'll knock out Peden, even though it may happen, but I think it's good for him to get this experience and to demonstrate his boxing skills and to prepare him better for a big fight later on down the road, particularly in a 12-round fight with, let's say, a guy like Guerrero or Morales.
Great combination.
The great thing about his combinations is how he commits to each punch. I mean, he's trying to hurt his opponent, and I think opponents feel that.
Peden landed a good right hand himself, and right away Marquez returned with about 4 big punches together, all of them combinations.
Still, the blood flows from Marquez's nose.
Yeah, Marquez said at the fighters being that he was going to outbox him, use combinations. He's doing everything that he said he was going to do. A variety of punches and using great boxing skills.
Good conditioning, too. Marquez has been up on his toes all through the fight. Big right hand.
Peden just really goes back. He doesn't really have a real defense for a right. He just hopes that he's out of range. And if he's not out of range, well, so be it.
Robbie Peden busts Marquez with a left hook at the end of the round, but all in all, it was another big round for Juan Manuel Márquez and his laser right hand.
Now you got to put some pressure. You got to put a lot more pressure now. Keep your head down and put a lot more pressure.
Peden told us that he came to America to become a professional because he didn't want to be one of those Australians who built up a record and came to America and just got beaten by the best fighters. But so far, that's exactly what is happening to him.
Round 7, a CompuBox wipeout.
El octavo terminó con Peden tocado, escupiendo algo oscuro en su esquina, y su entrenador mirándole la cara con una expresión que lo decía todo.
As the fight goes on, Robbie Peden 14 out of 40. It's not a bad round numerically for him based on what has come before, but he's just getting hit too much, too sharply, too well by Juan Manuel Márquez.
Successful Australian fighter is not a native Australian. He's Kostazu, the Russian fighter who settled in Australia and is the undisputed junior welterweight champion of the world.
With a brilliant amateur career. I think he represented Russia as an amateur. It was a fantastic amateur, I think, over 300 amateur fights. Very successful against the Cuban fighters as well as the American fighters.
Thunderbolt knockout earlier, or toward the end of last year against Zab Judah, Costazu has become one of the big ticket items in the sport, the kind of guy you fight for big money if you get the chance.
I don't really think he's become, you know, a big box office attraction. He's a big fighter.
Keep your head up, no pushing down.
But so far he hasn't proven to be a box office attraction in the U.S.
I think Zab Judah himself brought more publicity possibly into the fight than Costazu in that last fight.
Things heating up a bit here.
Here in Pittsburgh, Robbie Peden trying to make a fight of it against Juan Manuel Márquez, and Peden lands a left hook as he corners Marquez.
The problem is when they get in close in those exchanges, he's trying to deliver punches with his hands down, and Marquez is delivering his with his hands up. And this is just general mathematics. Distance is the fact that his punches are more point to point, where Peden's is coming from below. And as a result, he's out punching.
Marquez, a 2-to-1 favorite, performing like a 5-to-1 favorite so far tonight.
You got to back this man up and hit him. You can't back him up and look at him, all right?
Hold that bucket up here.
It's the 8th round coming. 9th round coming.
Hold that bucket up here. Are you tired? A little bit. But I'm okay. I'm okay. You gotta use that jab. Keep jabbing. Let him come to you, then turn around and hit him. You're only playing. You got the fight almost won. Throw to the body and move your head around.
Round 8 numbers very similar to those in round 7. Marquez 27 out of 52. Harold Letterman gave the round to Robbie Peden, who by CompuBox numbers landed 11 of 41. It's not always the number of punches you land. How effective are they? How big are they? Night inside the Palumbo Center here. Both fighters have given a lot in the first 8 rounds of the fight, and both fighters seem to be using the first minute of the 9th to get a little bit of a breather in there. Particularly Robbie Peden, who hadn't thrown much in this round.
To fight with your hands down the way that Peden fights is not necessarily bad if you have very good reflexes and upper body movement. But outside of an occasional just bend down, he still doesn't have the kind of reflexes, especially for a small fighter to fight with his hands as low as he's fighting.
Well, of course, after having trained Tommy Hearns and some of the other great stars at Kronk Gymnasium, it would be wrong for you to say that a fighter has to have his hands up all the time.
En el noveno, el ojo de Peden ya no era una cortada. Era una herida abierta que los jueces médicos comenzaban a observar con atención. La sangre no manaba, brotaba. Cada golpe de Márquez en esa zona era recibido como si alguien presionara un grifo. Peden seguía de pie, que es lo que hacen los valientes cuando ya no les queda nada más que el orgullo. Pero el orgullo no cierra heridas.
Styles make fights.
Yep.
Keep your head up, box.
And we remind you, still to come tonight, the lightweight attraction between hometown hero Paul Spadafore and obliterate a part of the centuries-old family crest in favor of filthy lucre.
Yes, from southern Italy, the family comes from. He says a lot of Spadafores.
Well, let's hope none of the Spadafores are offended by tonight's preference for .com betting money. Harold, how do you have it through 9 here? Harold, don't talk yet. They're trading shots. And they're trading shots at a wildly entertaining rate.
Marquez trying to close the show as Peden.
En el 10º, Márquez conectó una combinación de 3 golpes. El último un uppercut corto que impactó justo debajo de la ceja herida, y la sangre del australiano alcanzó el pecho de Márquez, las cuerdas, la lona. El referee detuvo momentáneamente la acción para que el médico evaluara. La evaluación fue breve. La pelea continuó. Pero el destino ya estaba escrito.
Made it a little bit closer. So 6 rounds to 3, Juan Manuel Márquez. Interestingly enough, in that corner, you don't see them using any adrenaline in Marquez's nose. No Q-tips, no adrenaline.
You know, it's interesting in scoring a fight. Maybe Peden may not have won some of those rounds that you've given him, but what happens, you're starting to compare rounds. He does better in certain rounds than he's did in other rounds, so you're giving a round even though he really hasn't won that round.
This is how Felix Trinidad wound up with a victory over Oscar De La Hoya.
Yes.
In a fight in which he didn't win enough rounds to win the fight, but because judges gave him some rounds looking for something better out of Trinidad, he ultimately wound up with a working margin.
That's right. In the last 3 rounds he won when Oscar quit fighting.
That's right.
Not that he landed nothing, just the fact that Oscar quit fighting.
And here, Peden did indeed gull Marquez into fighting more cautiously in the 8th and 9th rounds. As Marquez seemed to feel, well, maybe I've got the fight won, and with this bloody nose, I won't risk much. In fighting, you got to keep risking.
You got to keep fighting. You can never ease up. A lot of great fights are lost because guys took a break the last round, thinking that they'd won the fight, and then they end up surprised at the decision. Pernell Whitaker in the fight with Oscar De La Hoya. I felt that Oscar won the fight, even though Pernell maybe didn't get hit that much, but he took off the last 3 rounds, and Oscar kept fighting. And in certain states, certain commissions are giving instructions to their judges to give the fight to the guy who's trying to fight, often whether he lands punches or not.
We saw Leonard Doreen get a controversial decision over Raul Balbi a couple of months ago because Balbi seemed to feel that he had won the fight and Doreen kept fighting.
Doreen kept fighting. Judges like to see a guy finish up strong in a fight. Regardless of if you won the fight or not, they really hate to see a fighter just take off and quit fighting at a certain point.
And one thing Peden has going for him here is that Marquez has hit him a lot.
30 segundos dentro del 11º asalto, el médico de la comisión subió al ring por segunda vez. Miró el ojo de Peden, miró la cantidad de sangre que había empapado la esquina y tomó la única decisión que cabía tomar. Robert Peden no podía continuar. No por cobardía, no por falta de voluntad, sino porque el cuerpo humano tiene límites que ninguna cantidad de coraje puede ignorar. Juan Manuel Márquez, el Dinamita, levantó los brazos en el centro del ring de Los Ángeles, mientras el público, en su mayoría mexicano, convirtió el Staples Center en una extensión de cualquier calle del Distrito Federal. El nuevo campeón FIB Superpluma era mexicano, y 3 fantasmas finalmente podían descansar. Si esta noche de Los Ángeles te atrapó tanto como a nosotros, ya sabes que hay más historias como esta esperando en el canal. Peleas que van más allá del marcador, noches que el boxeo no pudo olvidar. Este canal crece porque hay personas que, como tú, no se conforman con ver los resultados. Quieren sentir lo que pasó dentro del ring. Si te quedaste hasta aquí, probablemente ya eres de los nuestros. Y si aún no te has suscrito, la campana sigue sonando.